no tobacco use, no eating or drinking, and lastly, please keep all cell phone and other loud conversations to a minimum. With that out of the way, we are heading deep into the Ituri rainforest of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In this habitat, we're looking for a large, dark brown animal with light white stripes on the hindquarters and front legs. This, of course, is known as our elusive okapi. All the way towards the right-hand side in the back there. The Ituri rainforest is the only place in the entire world the okapi is found, and because of that, they weren't discovered until the late 1800s. They weren't named their own species until about 1901, and the Dallas Zoo first obtained our pair of okapi from Zaire in the late 1950s. I do need everyone seated on their bottoms the entire ride, please. Thank you. Now, when scientists first discovered this animal, they thought it might be a relative to the zebra with those stripes. But after a closer inspection, we know now that this is the closest and only living relative to the giraffe. They do share some similar characteristics: the shape of their head, those sloping hindquarters, and of course, that tongue. Just like the giraffe, the okapi has that prehensile tongue that can be up to 12 inches long. They usually use it to get the leaves in the trees that are a little too high, so they can also use it for some personal hygiene. Okapis can clean out their own ears, they can lick their own eyeballs, and they can even lick inside their own noses. Gross. That's okay though, they don't have access to clean extra Q-tips like we do, so I guess they do what they can. As we head out of our rainforest, we are climbing high into the mountains. The largest mountain in Africa is Mount Kilimanjaro. It's snow-covered at the very top all year long. In this habitat, we're looking for a small little mountain goat known as the Nubian ibex. Look up there in the center. Both the males and the females have horns, but the male's horns are a lot larger. They can be up to 4 feet long each and weigh up to 20 pounds each, which is a lot of weight right on top of their head. But don't worry, all Nubian ibex have special hooves that are concave shaped, so they act like suction cups when they're moving up and down those mountains. They've been seen landing on ledges that are no wider than a dollar bill. And even when the baby Nubian ibex is first born, they are seen moving up and down those mountains and following their parents at only 3 hours old. Pretty impressive when you think about humans and what we can do at 3 hours old. Eat and cry. Everyone needs to be seated on their bottoms or in the lap of an adult the entire ride, guys. Thank you so much.
एन्जित बस्छ अब बस्छ भन्नुहोस् है फेरि उठ्ने होइन फेरि अनि निकालिदिन्छ
When most people think of Africa, they think of a dry, open area, kind of like a savanna or a desert, not knowing that the woodlands are going to make up 40% of the total continent. Right in front of us, we're going to have 3 funny-looking pillars. These are replicas of termite mounds that are found all over Africa. Termites are going to use their saliva, mix it with dirt and debris, and create these homes. Other animals will come right up to them, grab a quick snack, use it as a lookout post or even a scratching post. Coming further along, I'm looking for a larger animal with black and white stripes all over his body. This is going to be my very handsome male Grevy's zebra. The Grevy's is the largest and of all 3 species of zebra in the entire world. If you were to see the plain zebra we have in the Giants of the Savannah exhibit, you would see that their ears are a little smaller. Their stripes would be a little thicker, and they would have those stripes going all the way around their belly. I want everyone to look towards the right at this time. That's when you're going to get the best look of Wester right now. I apologize, he's going to be right under the train as we come right above him. I still, however, need everyone to stay seated, please, the entire ride. Quick question, can anyone tell me which side of Wester has the most stripes? Shout it out if you think you know. It's the outside. Womp womp. He's a smart zebra. He knows that if that gate opens, he will have access to the lady zebras on the other side. Not happening, buddy. Keep your eyes open on the rocks right in front of you. We've got little lizard friends who hang out. There's one now, my little monorail mascot. Everybody say hi, Pepe. Hi, Pepe. Don't worry, guys. Pepe sits in that same spot all day, every day, watching all the trains go by. He never moves. Point him out for your neighbor. Don't worry about trying to find anything in this little habitat with the waterfall. We are renovating it at the moment. But on the other side of this big old rock wall, we'll get a great look at our first predator habitat. We've got two small, ferocious-looking African cats known as caracals. Looking so ferocious right now. One more time, guys. Nothing in with that little waterfall, but on the other side of that big old rock wall, right up front there, two small, ferocious-looking African cats. I'm just kidding about that ferocious part. They're looking pretty cute and cuddly, as always.
Waterfall.
Caracal is a Turkish word. It means black-eared. I know they don't look too much bigger than your typical house cat, but their legs are a little bit longer. That allows them to be able to jump 8 feet into the air. Being able to jump that high, they can grab their favorite snack when they want. Caracals have been seen snatching birds right from the sky and having a tasty little treat for themselves. Listen up close and try to guess our next habitat before we get there.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Oh.
One more time, guys. I need everyone seated on their bottoms, please. Thank you. This is for your safety. This, of course, is the river habitat, the world's largest river into the Nile, located in Africa. Stretches about 4,136 miles. It's also known as the lifeline or the lifeblood of Africa, providing all that fresh water to both animals and humans. That gray and brown bird is the Goliath bird. That's the largest of the herrings in Africa. That beautiful white bird is an egret. I would love to tell you all about him, but he doesn't belong to us. He's actually just flown in. He's discovered the beautiful utopia and all the free food. Now he kind of refuses to leave. You can't blame him, though. As long as he's happy, we are happy. As we come around the bend, we're getting a great view of all 8 of our beautiful white pelicans. These little guys are pescivores. That's a big funny word, for they only like to eat fish. They do have that stretchy flap of skin right below their beak there that's called a gular sac. They can expand that out and gather 3 to 5 gallons of water up at a time, hopefully containing fish. They would then siphon off that water and swallow those fish whole. The taller gray bird in the center is a Stanley crane. It's also known as a blue crane, and that is the national bird of South Africa. Hey, buddy in the green shirt, I really need you to have a seat, please. This is for your safety. All right, guys, go ahead and get your umbrellas out and all your raincoats, because we're going under the waterfall. You have your umbrella, right? No. Uh-oh. Just kidding. Mind your electronics.
More than 10 times come right here. Everything invented, right?
If the little guy in the striped shirt will have a seat too, please. If I keep on asking you, it's making much more fun for everybody else. Please stay seated. It's for your safety. Those water habitats are very beautiful and very important for many different reasons. We want to make sure all of our natural resources are here for as long as possible. It's the little things that add up, like turning off the water when you're brushing your teeth, watering your lawn a little less, and making sure that all waste is properly disposed of. If we don't pitch in, it would definitely make a difference. If you saw the beautiful black and white bird in the back, that was a European stork. You might be asking yourself, what's a European stork doing in this African habitat? They actually do live in Africa, but they'll travel over to Europe with a little nest, they'll return and do it year after year. Looking down below, the shaggy brown antelopes, they kind of look like big furry cows. Those are known as water bucks. They're very sweet, but they're also really good at smelling really bad. They actually secrete an oily musk all over their bodies that tells predators, hey, if I smell that, I probably taste bad and you don't want to eat me. Well, that's just the case. Even if a predator were to walk up to a water buck and take a big old bite, they would realize that that oily musk has seeped down into their muscles, causing their meat to taste rotten as well. Moving right along, we're coming into an area of Africa known as the Arid Desert. It's an area that's going to get less than 10 inches of rainfall per year, which is not a lot. An example of that would be the Sahara Desert in Africa, and the animals in here that are very well adapted are known as the Adex antelope. They have the cream-colored fur to blend in with the rocky terrain, and they've been known to go their entire lives without drinking a single drop of water. They're going to continuously graze all day long, allowing their bodies to get all the hydration they need from the plants and vegetation they eat. So in the wild, if there was a drought and no water, they would be just fine. But of course, here at the Dalles Zoo, they get all the water they want, so no worries there. The little ones with the straight horns are the baby Adex antelope. We're very excited to have them and encourage y'all to come back and continue to watch as they grow. Up next is our semi-arid desert. The animals with the big, long, sharp, pointy horns are known as Gemsbok. They can be social with each other, but have been known to be very aggressive and even win in a fight against a lion with those horns. And if you look at them from the side, it almost looks like they only have one horn, which is where the myth of the unicorn is thought to have come from. Those very animals. On the far right, we do have all three of our big beautiful ostrich. The male has the darker feathers to blend in with the nest at night. The two females have the lighter feathers to blend in with the nest during the day. The ostrich is the fastest land animal in the world on two legs. Their eyeballs just so happen to be bigger than their brain to give you an idea of their intelligence. A lot of people think that if an ostrich gets scared, he's going to tuck his head down into the sand to hide. That is not true. Those birds can run up to 35 miles an hour. They have very powerful legs. They are not afraid of much. If you want to see the ostrich egg that we have on display in our base camp, you can see how large it is. If you were to crack it open, it's about the equivalent of 24 chicken eggs, and I hear it makes a very yummy omelet. Look towards the left-hand side as we come into the scrub habitat. We do have a pair of lappet-faced vultures. Now, lappet is the word that does mean wrinkly, and they do have those wrinkly bald heads because they are scavengers, which means they're going to eat dead things, which sounds pretty gross, unless you think about the last time any of us ate anything alive. That's right, unless you're an herbivore, what we call a vegetarian. We eat dead things as well. We just tend to have ours a little bit better cooked than they do. But those guys are the cleanup crew of the environment. They help prevent the spread of diseases and bacteria by eating all that dead, rotting meat. So for that, we are grateful. Moving right along to this newly renovated habitat, we've done all nice and pretty for our warthogs. It's a pair of brothers we have out, and they can't be much cuter than this, snuggled up on this little pile of sand in the shade. They're just taking a little nap. You really can't blame them. That's adorable. They're on the right-hand side, folks. We're moving right along to the bush habitat. It's the largest we have here on the monorail safari. There's a couple different things to see in here. I'm going to point them all out for you as we come from left to right. All the way on the left-hand side, just past the water there, that taller black bird is the black-crowned crane. They're going to blend in with the tall grasses in Africa. All the way in the very back in the center, another pair of lappet-faced vultures. Right on the little island here is the female greater kudu. I do have a second female on the far right-hand side. Greater and lesser in the animal kingdom refers to their size, so these are the larger of the kudu. This taller gray bird with a bald head, right at the water, is a marabou stork. They have an impressive 11-foot wingspan. All the way in the very back, that bird with the very long legs is a secretary bird. They have the ability to fly, but they prefer to walk, and they've been known to walk up to 18 miles in one day. I hope everyone's getting great. Look at that big old funny-looking tree on the right-hand side. That big old tree kind of looks like it was planted upside down, but I can assure you it was not. That is our replica of the baobab tree. It's also known as the tree of life in Africa, and during times of drought, people and animals can go right up to it, scrape back some of the bark, and get a nice drink of water. If any of you have seen the very awesome and amazing movie, The Lion King, well, in that movie, the baboon Rafiki, he lived in a baobab tree as well. And the word Rafiki is a Swahili word that means friend. So So later on, I want you guys to go home and tell your Rafikis you learned a little bit of Swahili here at the Dallas Zoo today.
앉아 벗어.
We're coming into our very beautiful Kimberly Clark chimpanzee habitat now. A common misconception about chimpanzees is that they are monkeys. That in fact is not true. In order to be a monkey, one of your characteristics is that you have a tail. Chimpanzees do not have a tail, therefore they are more commonly related to the great ape family, along with gorillas, bonobos, and orangutans. If you guys have ever wanted to wave to our chimpanzees, we do not wave at them like this. If you can see me in front, we wave like this. It's a lot easier for our chimps to mimic that hand motion. It's the same way our keepers wave at them, and every once in a while they do wave back, which is a lot of fun.
침팬지들은 몽키 원한달래.
Everyone needs to be on their bottoms, please. Car number 8, thank you. Do your best and try to spot all 3 of our Nile crocodiles. We come into Predator Pond. They're making it easy for you right in front of the train there. They do a good job of looking like logs or driftwood. They're going to wait for their food to walk right up to their mouth. They're going to snap and have a nice little snack. Also, all 3 of our Nile crocodile are trained to walk out of the water and walk into a separate enclosure to the sound of their keepers ringing a cowbell. A little operant conditioning and positive reinforcement at its finest, folks. Just like you could train a puppy dog at home, those Nile crocodile have essentially been trained to put themselves away, which is pretty cool. I don't know how else you move a 1,000-pound reptile, but there you go. Beautiful gray and white birds in front of us now. They're over here on the right. This is Shadow and Betty. They are wattled cranes, and they are named that for that wattle that does hang below their beak, just like a turkey would have. The only difference is that theirs is covered in little white feathers. Those birds stand about 5.5 feet tall, which makes them the tallest cranes in Africa, as well as taller than myself. At this time, we are parallel with our gorilla trail now. You're going to see big giant windows right in front of the train. Don't worry about seeing anything in there. That is the nighttime habitat for our gorillas. It kind of acts as their bedroom or the place they can go in the event of any inclement weather. They can be right down in there and nice and safe and sound. Of course, all 5 of our gorillas should be out on exhibit right now. We do have a very beautiful habitat complete with our research center where people from all over come to study our gorillas. If you guys want to go in there and learn a little bit more about them, you can do so. I do want to say thank you so much for being here at the Dallas Zoo today, being here on the monorail. A portion of the proceeds from your tickets does go to further fund all kinds of education and conservation programs we have, not only here at the zoo, not only here in the country, but all over the world for many, many different species. We want to make sure that all the animals are happy and healthy, both in zoos and out in the wild, so thank you so much for that.
날라가서 다니는데.
Crossing over the entrance to the Giants of the Savannah exhibit now. This exhibit is 3 years old, complete with elephants, lions, cheetahs, warthogs, zebra, and of course our giraffes. If you've ever wanted to be face-to-face with a giraffe and hand feed them, you can do so right in there and really experience that prehensile tongue that I was talking about earlier on the Okapi. I know it's a little difficult to see, but if we peer through the branches now, we're looking down into our mandrill habitat. Mandrills are the world's largest monkey because, yep, they do have that tail. It's only about 2 or 3 inches long, but it's there nonetheless. You can tell the males from the females in that the males have very colorful red, yellow, and blue faces and bottoms. The more dominant the male, the more red he's going to have on his face and bottom. And if you're ever going to look at their teeth, mandrills do have very sharp-looking canines that could be up to 2.5 inches long. Last, but certainly not least, the very cutest little birds in the entire zoo. These are our African black-footed penguins. Now, I did say Africans are found in South Africa to be exact, and they do prefer a temperature of about 60 to 75 degrees year-round. So when it gets 30 degrees here in Dallas, Texas, it's actually a little too chilly for these birds. But don't you worry, we keep them comfortable. They've got heated pools, and we can put out heated rocks to make sure they are nice and toasty. Did you know that out of all 19 different species of penguins in the entire world, only 5 are actually found in cold weather climates? And if you're to ever see any of those silly commercials where polar bears are hanging out with penguins, or you think a polar bear may have a penguin for a nice little snack, I'm here to tell you that that is not going to happen. All polar bears are found in the North Pole, while every single penguin in the entire world is going to be found in the Southern Hemisphere, anywhere below the equator. So unless a polar bear were to hop on a very long and very expensive plane ride, he is not going to hang out with any penguins. I can assure you they are polar opposites. As we pull back up into the station now, I'd like to kindly remind you to please stay seated until the train has come to a complete stop and those doors have opened up behind you. Please take a look around, make sure you have all of your belongings, cell phones, cameras, purses, and of course, your children. You gotta take them with you. If you're on the front row, you'll take a small step up to get out. If you're on the back row, you'll take a small step down to get out. Once again, my name is Sine. It's been a pleasure having y'all aboard today. If you guys have any questions, comments, or need directions, I'm going to be right here at the front of the train to answer all of this for you, and that is towards your exit anyway. One final question for everyone. Why do they not like to play poker in Africa? Too many cheetahs and all the lion. Thanks, guys. I hope y'all have a great day, a fantastic 4th of July, and thanks for joining us here at the Dallas Zoo.